Madam Chair, we are live.
Thank you, Mrs. DeGraw. We want to welcome everyone to our regular board meeting today. And we'll call our meeting to order. Mr. Williams, if you would lead us in the
Yes,
slides.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The floor will be open for a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam Chair, I so moved.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. And I forgot to excuse Mr. Burtonshaw as he had to go back to work, so we will see him at our next meeting. The floor will be open for a motion to approve the minutes from our previous meeting.
Madam Chair, I so moved.
Was there a second? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving right along to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of things I wanted to highlight on the superintendent's report. One is a grant that our district did receive. We received a CHC. Remind me, Carrie, that's a.
It's a community grant, so it's just a nonprofit that grants funds to improve community.
And I have an attachment that explains all of
Yep.
that with it, and so they are going to give us $25,000 for the multi-purpose room enhancements and here in the ALC. As the ALC building is a community hub, that's what when we went to them, we live in such a small community, we're grateful for how our patrons support us and have us. But this is a place where people come to, and when we have individuals that need to utilize the building, our rent is extremely low for people who rent the building. And also, when there are times that we've had funerals and other things, we don't charge for those things. We want our schools to be part of the community, and this CHC grant is going to help us make some remodels and some enhancements. Wanted to just say thank you to the CHC Foundation for selecting us for that, and just wanted the school board to know that we'll be doing those remodels with this grant that we received.
That's really nice. Who applied for that?
That was one that between myself, Mrs. DeGraw, and Julie Torgerson, that's her name. Man, my goodness, I'm going back in '97, Julie Hall. And then also with Mr. Erickson, just here in this wing, we went and we looked at that, and the CHC group, they sent out 2 individuals. They came out and they interviewed with us and visited with us, and it's a great opportunity for us to enhance our ALC building as a community hub.
And we can apply for future projects.
And they wanted us to, yeah, they wanted us to do that. So we're excited about that.
So is there a kind of a limit on what you can ask for, or?
Yeah, they do. We asked for a lot of other things. And when they came and they talked to us, they said there was nothing wrong with asking. There were certain things that fit their mission. They like to see things that are going to last longer than 7 years, capital type projects, and just the items that enhance the public. So yeah, there's definitely something that we can keep in mind in the future, and we're appreciative of them. Another grant that I wanted to talk about was the PLC grant. This is a grant that we applied for this spring. Received, oh, actually, I take that back. It was last fall, wasn't it, Mrs. Scott? Or was
No, it kind of came out around December, and then
That's
we had
right.
to fill it out by February.
It was a quick turnaround one. And so we finished that right in January, February. We received it here in April, and it has to be spent by the end of the month. And so PLC stands for Professional Learning Community. And this is something that our school district has been doing already, but this was going to allow us to invite more teachers to go to the PLC conferences and just help better prepare our teachers on how they can be more impactful with student learning. Goes right along with what we have in our mission and vision statement. And so again, this is one that came from the State Department, and Mrs. Scott just got back from a PLC conference in Minnesota with her teachers, and then Mrs. Erickson and some of the elementary teachers are going this next week, and I'll be attending that with them as well. So we're excited
Where
about
are they
that.
going?
So that one will be in Los Angeles next week.
So will that take the 33,000?
Yes,
Well, not the full 33,000. The travel was 24,000. And then we have 9,000 to do implementation throughout the next year.
It's actually 2 years. And one thing that's cool is the guiding coalition, so the people who go to the conference. One of the things I sent in my reflection was that we know that professional development that's sustained by teachers and it goes over a long period of time. So these conferences are energizing, they're informative, and they're really awesome, but it's not sustainable unless you come back and you have a group that's gonna sustain it. And so the State Department's gonna send trainers out for 2 years to train us. So that's part of the grant. And that doesn't cost us, but they're gonna buy us books for book studies to help us learn more about the PLC process and how we can utilize and affect like change. But I think it's gonna help solidify our standards-based grading, and it's gonna help look at individual kids a little bit more. But it's gonna be teacher driven with this coalition that is going to these trainings, which is really neat.
Are those trainings still the same ones we went to?
they're similar to the same ones. So we did meet, at the beginning of this,
It was at the end of the school
end
year.
of school year, it was May 31st.
And they're required, like, we have to do, so there's like, by the State Department to get this grant, like,
Yeah.
and I told my team at the high school, but the cool thing is it's gonna be K-12, so we are gonna be working together.
Yep.
But I told them, I'm like, this is kind of a commitment because you have to be at these meetings. And so we will meet monthly with the State Department as a guiding coalition, and then they take it back to the teachers.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good. So along the lines of the PLC grant, is that has to do with professional development. I asked Mrs. Scott to just make a summary of all the different things. And so I took her email and I put a few things here. Christy, do you want to just talk a little bit about how your professional development went this year with the teachers? I'm excited about the professional development. We have that in our continuous improvement plan as a board. It's important for us. Our board supports the professional development. Tell us a little bit about your year.
Well, I've always loved it as a teacher, and I just really think that as teachers, I don't know, at the high school, we're very content driven, but the profession of teaching sometimes gets overlooked a little bit because we're always studying about our content. We love it. And that Idaho Coaching Network transformed me as a teacher, and I wish I had done it sooner. And I wanted to bring elements of that as an administrator to the staff, and I just challenged them. I'm like, we have to model being the best learners. And so I implemented some things that made, I don't know, we have great teachers, but I implemented some things that I thought would help us focus more on modeling being the best learners and doing some things that I gleaned from the coaching network, but couldn't affect that change as just a classroom teacher. And I just am so appreciative of the staff diving in. They really did. And it was cool because I think it helps kind of set us up for this grant that we're gonna get to work more with data and to collaborate more and not be these islands as content teachers. So we did 3 book studies and we offered 4 credits, and I had 17 total teachers, but 11 here at the junior high school that took advantage of that, and ISU paid for $200 of that, so they only had to pay $15 to get 4 credits, which helps with recertification.
So you
But
had how many out of how many?
we had 11 teachers do the credit, but all of the teachers read the books and showed up at the professional development, so they all had a copy, but 11 took advantage of the credits. And we did Making Thinking Visible, which was a book about how to create thinking routines and put the thinking on our students. And then it gave them really cool teacher strategies to use to utilize that. And we practiced those, and I taught that. And then Teacher Clarity and Restorative Practices were books that Mr. Davis had brought in. Teacher Clarity focuses on standards-based grading, and Restorative Practices is a lot about building relationships and behavior and how we can address it. And at the first of the year, I knew I hadn't read the books, and I loved to read, but we didn't do a lot of follow-up with that. So I asked all the teachers, and none of them had read the books. And they're very interactive books, but I had teachers lead those discussions and read the books, but they also got credit. Because again, I think teachers teaching teachers is really powerful. And then I I also asked my teachers to go and observe other teachers. So 1 a quarter, because I think it's really cool to see people at their discipline, but also we can learn from each other. And the first one I said, go where you're comfortable, because I knew this was gonna be hard for some people, like go where you're comfortable with someone. But the second round, after their first observation, I talked to them and like someone said, like where there was a weakness or they wanted to do better. And I said, you should go watch that teacher. Or you should. So I hope that helped. And then I had them go where their content was for the third. And then the fourth quarter to try to go view someone who teaches completely opposite. Because in my evaluations, you know, I knew Mr. Bird was a good ag teacher, but I never once went and watched him teach. And when I had to go do observations in the welding room, I was amazed at kids who were a little more apathetic in my classroom, busy the whole time and industrious and active. And I was like, what could I have learned from that as a teacher to help some of those kids that were apathetic in my English classroom? And I needed more hands-on things. I needed them to be moving. I needed them to have a purpose. And I learned that, darn it, as an administrator. So I'm hoping teachers will learn from watching other teachers. Then they did a passion project, but this wasn't an extra thing. So teachers have to fill out an IPLP. And
So an acronym for that, it's an individual personal learning plan. So it is a requirement that every teacher at the beginning of the year, they have different goals
Yeah.
that they write out. We have a form that we utilize in our district that we use for the observations, just to help ensure that professional development is happening. I know from the outside, sometimes it looks like teachers just, gone are the days of, let me just do a worksheet, sit at my desk and do crossword puzzles and go on. So our teachers are moving forward with that. So IPLP, keep going.
yeah, and so it didn't really change it. I changed, so they have to do 2 on domains of the evaluation, but then there was 1 more. And I labeled it a passion project because it's something I did in Idaho Coaching Network, and they chose a goal that was educationally based and something they wanted to explore more. And I told them they had to present it at the end of the year to the rest of the teachers. And I think my favorite part was one of the teachers was asking some students doing some summary as they were creating theirs. And they said, Mrs. Scott's making you do a senior project too. So that to me showed that the kids are noticing that like our teachers are modeling being the best learners, because I was really stressed because they weren't happy to be doing it, even though I didn't change anything that they already had to do. I think it was just a presentation part, and they gave me a little bit of fun grief, and kind of joked around with me a little bit. And so I was so stressed that, because I had a 4-hour block for them to present. And I thought, what if we finish in an hour? So I prepared stuff from the book, and I had all this, I stayed up till 2:30 in the morning, which I don't know if that doesn't show that I didn't have faith in them. I just wanted to be prepared. And we went till 8 till 11:30 with those, and they were phenomenal. It was so cool for teachers to see other teachers and their interests, and I made a whole list. I can send you the reflection if you really want to look, but I did make a whole list of what the teachers did for their individual passion projects. And it was just cool to see how it fit something they were interested in, and then them sharing it with others. And I think it was a cool thing. The math training that's up next, Mrs. Bell and Veronica Blackham have just transformed our math department, and I could brag about them for hours when I go to state meetings or principal meetings and they talk about math. We're doing all the things the state department's wanting us to do, and I love that it's now connecting to the elementary. Like Mrs. Bell's really excited to see the program they're getting, because it really is gonna help support what she's building. We just have to convince her to stay maybe a little bit longer. But they're training all summer. They've already gone to 2 trainings. One of them in particular, the state gave them $500 worth of, each teacher that went, we had 3 go, $500 worth of math manipulatives.
I think this picture right here is that one.
Yeah,
right there,
and if you look real
Dell,
close at the picture, they're using the math manipulatives.
And they have the math manipulatives that are.
Yeah, but each individual teacher got $500 from the state through this training. And we sent a middle school, so like Tiffany Reader and then Bailey and then Raquel went to that. But they have more
That's good.
coming, and her department meetings are always connected with Veronica and the state department. And the grad thing that I went to yesterday about changing grad requirements, I'm like, the math is already doing this. They're creating pathways for graduation. Well, they're creating math pathways for kids on these tracks. And we already are doing that. So that's cool. the last thing that I had them do that was a little bit different, I did faculty meetings. But then so once a month, we would do strategy shares in the morning. So they came at 7:30 and teachers signed up to share a strategy that they loved and show it to teachers so that they could use it in their classrooms. It was something they did a long time ago, and there was a lot of positive feedback about gathering in a teacher's classroom and learning from them. And I think it went really well, and I think we did 10 teachers total, because we had 10 months, maybe it was 9, where we did the strategy shares. And then just conferences that we're going to. Shane told you about the PLC one. The MTI is a math one that Sherry goes up to Coeur d'Alene, and then our CTE teachers have been at trainings this whole week, which is also really neat. That's
So Madam Chair, I just wanted to highlight some of the professional development, so
What kind of training do CTE go to?
it's their CTE training, so it's very
specific.
specific to,
So-
so like Debbie's at one that's gonna help her with her FCS.
Chandra was at a welding one.
Yeah,
where they were
and then
learning
John was
welding
at one.
techniques.
Like, they sent me a summary, I didn't get that added into my report, cause I told them, and then Mrs. Horicombi is at one with the business classes. So they're very specifically focused, but they do them every summer. And last year, we sent our science teachers to some STEM ones, and we had, Mr. Packer was gonna go to a drone one, but it fell at the same time as the Minnesota. So he ended up having to.
And so how many of these conferences did we take out of our professional development learning money?
I think Sherry's math stuff is all covered through this.
So a lot of this
So a
stuff,
lot of it-
so a lot of this stuff, the state covers, we might have to pay for the travel to get there,
Yeah.
but they don't charge, and I know that, so like. The teachers have those, but even like with administrators, like there's an Idaho Superintendent Network and a Principal Network.
Yeah.
Those are like usually, the state, if it's put on by the State Department, there's no cost for the actual training, it's just cost on the travel, and the hotel. And so
Well,
it's
and
really
actually,
cost effective,
the one I go to, the principal mentoring one, they reimburse them for the hotel
depending on the year, there's different types.
food. I don't charge the district for your gas because they just reimburse me
Yeah,
for that,
it's-
so.
there's a lot of really good opportunities that the State
My
Department
guess
is
is the
putting together.
CTE one is the only one that we probably paid for, but it probably came out of CTE monies, right, Carrie?
Yeah.
If I'm,
Oh, really?
correct, the PLC one was covered with that grant, so.
Yeah, the CTE monies are.
Well, I would love to read your reflection and about the passion projects. Would you send that?
I would love to.
That'd be excellent.
We'll forward that to all the.
I need to add in the last couple that came in
I'll
though.
let you add it in and then send it.
Okay, and how many pages was it really? Cause I did it in an email.
You said 7.
I was joking,
Seven.
it was approximately.
It might be. I don't even know. I just started talking because I don't know, it was good reflection for me of like, did the things that I wanted.
And me not putting it in there, it's not because I didn't want to take the time on it,
Oh,
but,
it was long and I'm sorry.
but there's a lot of really good things, and it just shows. I do want to say just publicly as superintendent, thank you to Mrs. Scott, first year as a principal. You are truly an academic instructional leader as a principal. Thank you for doing that, and we're seeing that, so I appreciate all your efforts in that. So that's all I have for my report today, Madam Chair.
Super. Okay, Mrs. McGraw, do we have any public comment sheet? No. Okay. There's no on then. The floor will be open for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Is there a second?
A second. Oh, go ahead.
You pick. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Moving down to 7.1 for our amended budget.
All right, this is what took place during the hearing this morning. We talked about the amended budget, followed by the proposed budget, and then the fee increase. That hearing did take place at 9:30 today. And so really, I can just pull up the process that as part of this, we did put together an amended budget. Those things were all explained during the fee hearing with the amended budget. And so that's all we have on that. So there's quite more questions that weren't discussed during that or other items the board would, this would be the time to do it, or probably for motions.
I think We're ready to go ahead. The floor will be open for a motion to approve the amended 23-24 budget.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the amended 23-24 budget.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to the proposed budget for 24-25.
This would be the proposed budget would be this line here. Those, the details were explained during the budget hearing.
No further discussion. The floor will be open for a motion to approve the proposed budget for the 24-25 school year.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Okay, next, the fee increase that we discussed.
So district is proposing to have the fee increase for the FCCLA to go from 16 to 20. And then with the discussion that we had during the fee hearing, $400 for the school year or $200 a semester for the pure model students.
The floor will be open for a motion to approve the proposed fee increases for the 24-25 school year.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. In executive session, we discussed student A. And the chair will entertain a motion to approve the early graduation request from student A.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Okay, and we also discussed student B. The floor will be open for a motion to approve the early graduation request from student B.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Those in favor? Any opposed? That motion passes. 7-6 teacher negotiations.
So the board has designated the superintendent to meet with educators of West Jefferson to negotiate salaries and benefits for the 24-25 school year. And so the educators of West Jefferson, they voted to accept our salary schedule that we proposed, the health benefits, and we didn't have any major changes to the master agreement. There were some minor edits to clarify health benefits. But the educators of West Jefferson, as I met with them, they are appreciative of the school board. We appreciate them, and we are so grateful for the relationship that we have between them. We appreciate our teachers, and I appreciate the school board for looking out for their best interests. So they did accept that. Now we just need a motion to be able to approve the negotiated salary schedule and health benefits master agreement.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the negotiated salary schedule, health benefits, and master agreement for the 24-25 school year.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Salary schedule.
So the salary schedules that are attached, the board's had a chance to look at those. Those are for certificated, classified, and exempt employees. And so these are the proposals. The certified ones are ones that fall under the master agreement. The classified would be the hourly schedules, and the exempt would be for our 3 employees who are exempt.
You need to add supplemental contracts as well.
Do we need to? Is that a question, or is that?
It's not on here as an item that they're approving.
I think the contracts are on the next one.
Oh, this is just a salary schedule.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're
I
one,
apologize.
one ahead, so just the salary schedules.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the proposed 24-25 salary schedules.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. We're just clicking right
And
along.
let's see if I have them on this one, Mrs. DeGrom, make sure.
They're
So the contracts, we have the certified extra day, extra duty, and supplemental contracts. And again, all of those were ones that the board were able to look at with, all of these are listed out on the contracts that we offer. And as a district. And so those are available there as the board's had a chance to look at that.
The floor would be open for a motion to approve the proposed 24-25 contracts and MOUs.
Madam Chair, I so moved.
Is there a second?
Madam Chair, can I pause for 1
There
second?
were no MOUs this time.
I think I don't know if we have the different one there, attachments. Can you strike MOU on that when you do that motion, please, and just say the proposed contracts, because I do not have any MOUs available on that one.
Gotcha.
So if you do that one more time, I apologize.
We'll strike that last one. The floor would be open for a motion to approve the proposed 24-25 contracts.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I so moved.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Found my first mistake on these today.
Practically perfect.
And Madam Chair, we do not have any spending, purchase or surplus approvals.
We'll just move right on to policy review.
So just as part of our policy review, these will be the different items that we will be starting with. We do need to set up a special work meeting to discuss these, but I just wanted to have these out for the community to look at. If they had any feedback on them, this would be a great time to go to your school board members and let them know that is when they come to the work meeting as we review and develop policy in these areas. That's all we'll have to do. And so I believe July would be the next time we might be able to meet. And shooting for, oops, that's the wrong year. July 8th, 9 o'clock in the morning for a work meeting. That won't be a special meeting because at this point, we don't have any action items. So it'll just be-
And then our next regular meeting,
is the following, in July, the third week, so it'll be the 18th, 10 o'clock, with an executive at 9.
In addition, if the board members have policy items to review during our work meeting, please let the chair know, and then we can add those as well.
Yep, so any type of policy review, if you have anything else you'd like to add.
okay? Well, nothing further on the agenda. The floor will be open for a motion to adjourn.
I'm sure I so move.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Adjourned. Thank you.